Okay, so let's get back to the class. And in today's class, we will be discussing about capacity planning, capacity management, in order to discuss about capacity requirement planning. So, which will be the last part of your seventh module. Okay,
So sorry to interrupt, sir, but did you already post the quiz? Because I couldn't see anything.
I
I
already
couldn't.
posted. I already posted. Let's get back to this. I also download the attendance, so no need to worry.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Okay. So okay, to begin, let's start again. Capacity. What is capacity, and what is capacity management? What is capacity requirement, and what is capacity requirement planning? So we will be discussing this in this class. So what is this capacity? So we always determine capacity. We always confuse capacity with productivity, or we always confuse capacity to the efficiency, or we always confuse it with the profit. Okay, so capacity is not about the productivity, the efficiency, or the profit. Capacity is all about the rate of doing work, and not about the quantity of the work being done. That is, uh, capacity is the belief what we have. Okay, like the reliability what we have, or I know that my students, or my worker can do this many number of jobs in a particular day. That we call as a rate of doing work. Okay, like we know that, for example, in a construction field, in a civil engineering field, a wall can be constructed by this, like let's say for example, a 5 x 5 feet wall can be constructed by a single mason in one day. Just for an example, keep it like that. That is the rate of doing work. Okay, but what about the quantity of work done, right? So it's not about the quantity, it's about the rate of the, like we believe that this machine, or this work center, or this employee can manufacture this many number of products. That is, he is capable of doing this. That we call as capacity. Okay, but in actual, the work done could be different. Okay, so that's what I like say for example, the teachers always expect the students to perform well. But after when they review the answer sheets, we know that the capacity of the students is different, because some students will not be active in the class, but they will be performing very well in the examination. That is their capacity. Some students will not be studying 365 days, but in the exams they will be performing well, because that is their capacity. So the capacity varies from person to person. Okay, so same way, in a company or in an organization, in an industry, the performance of the machines or the employees will be varying from one to other. Okay, so this cap when being an industrialist or being a shop floor in charge, we always we should always consider only the capacity of the machine or the employee. Only depending upon the capacity of the machine, or your employee, we can take the orders. We can go for taking new orders. So it is about the production. When it comes to industry, it's going to be the productive capability, the productive capability of a worker, or a machine, or a plant, or an organization as the whole, for a given period of time. So in a given period of time, what is the productive capability of a worker? So he is capable of something, right? So a person is capable of something. Similarly, a machine is capable of producing certain number of parts. Okay, say for example, the it comes along with the specifications of some machines, that this machine can produce this many number of components in a given time. So that is the capability. Okay, the the productive capability. So this is the called as in terms of production, we call as productive capability of a particular worker, a machine, or a work center, a plant, or an organization to perform. So that is capacity, or capacity can be called as productive capability. So how can we classify capacity again? The capacity can be classified based upon lead overload, lag overload, or capacity, or the calculated capacity, which is called as the average capacity with demand. That is performing beyond the demand or over demand. Like we expect some student to get only 60 percentage of mark, but he does very well, and if he can score 90 percentage, that is over demand. We keep expectations like, okay, 70 percentage expectation, but that student scored only 40 or 35 in the exam. That is lagging beyond because the capacity was overrated. Okay, so average capacity, okay, a student scoring like just 50 marks is not bad or is not good, is just able to score the normal 50 percentage of mark. So that we call as average student, right? You call as a average student, a brilliant student, or a poor student. So same way in industries, the machines or the workers can also be rated for their capacity. So and we can be classifying them based upon the capacity. But in industry, we do it as per the demand or the satisfaction of customer's order. Okay, so that's how we calculate the capacity. Then we should know about capacity, measuring the capacity. When I say about measuring the capacity, there are two things we need to consider. One is called as design capacity. The other one we call as effective capacity. What is design capacity? We always design some system or a machine. We expect we know that this employee can deliver this much as the productive capability to produce something. Okay, or we know that this CNC machine has the productive capability of producing 10,000 components in a single day, maybe a small component, or this machine can produce this many number of components in 1 hour. So these all we call it as design capacity. Or to make it simple, we expect we might buy a mobile phone, and we expect that mobile phone to run for 2 years without any issue, any electronic issue or any software issues. That is the minimum warranty or guarantee what the company is giving. Minimum guarantee what the company is giving. So that is called because that product is designed to deliver its full uh, full full specifications or whatever it's promised for the next 2 years. Then we call this, that is called the design capacity. Okay, in say for example in IPL matches or any football tournament, the players are hired because the hiring authority or the club feels that this player has the capability to deliver something. Okay, if the player is not delivering the expectation, delivering or delivering the expectations of the club, then he will be sacked out of the team. So in similarly if it's a machine, we expect the machine to perform in a certain way. So that is called as design capacity. But in real time, the player or the machine, say for example the employee or the machine, in case of the cricket or in terms of football, the player, if they are not able to deliver the promised or capacity, that is the design of for the machine for which the capacity is being designed. The mobile phone is expected to last for 2 years, but it fails and it is not able to deliver its performance for the 2 years. It fails in 1 year. Then we call that as effective capacity, because effective capacity is what the actual capacity minus all the allowances. Okay, say in a company, in a given for the in 1 day we have 8 hour shift. The 8 hours is the minimum working hours for the machines. Okay, so if 8 hours is the minimum working hours, we know you already studied about work study and all the allowances in work study. So we saw that we always give some tolerance, or we give some personal allowances for time, such as personal time. We give some allowances are there, and sometimes the machine may get breakdown in the 8 hours. So we need to maintain them. Then how much amount of scrap the machine is producing. Scrap here means the failure of quality or wasting the resources. Okay, even that has to be considered when calculating the effective capacity. So it's not like that I buy a machine, it consumes 10 kg of steel to produce 1 kg of product, 1 kg steel of product. So it consumes 9 kgs extra to produce 1 kg of the product. That is waste. We should be able to get a machine which produces 1 kg of product by using exactly 1 kg of steel, or somewhere 1 or 2% more than that. Correct. So effective utilization of resources without any wastages is also necessary. So effective capacity is by taking into all allowances, all maintenance time, all scrap values, all products which are failing the quality check. So all these things, if you calculate the net output, the net result, what we get is called as the effective capacity planning. Okay, to make it simple, I think I told you about calculating the value at a time and non-value at a time. Correct? Have we discussed about this value at a time and non-value at a time for an engineering? I think we had discussed this example. Did we? Did we discuss the example for our engineering, the value at time and the non-value at time? If you could remember that example, that is the meaning for this effective capacity. Okay, so then what is actual output? Okay, what is actual output? Is the rate of output actually achieved. This cannot be effective capacity, because effective capacity includes everything. Okay, it's about actual output cannot exceed effective capacity, because the output expected is will have everything together. So actual output is the rate of output actually achieved, but it cannot exceed the effective capacity. Effective capacity is the final capacity what we calculate. Then utilization is the output as a percentage of design capacity. So the machine is designed for something, and how well you are going to utilize that. So if you are utilizing that for to produce some components, then we call as that is considered for the design capacity. Utilization is about that the machine is designed and it can be utilized, but in real time the efficiency of the machine is different. Okay, so efficiency is related to effective capacity, because we have to minus all the allowances, all the maintenance time, all the scrap values, etc. So efficiency relates to effective capacity. Utilization refers to design capacity. Utilization is for the machine, for how it is designed, how it is for how much designed capacity, right? So that is utilization. And utilization and efficiency, we always denote it as a percentage. Okay, efficiency we say on 10% efficiency, 100% efficiency, like that. Same way utilization also, you are going to tell out of this available time, this machine was utilized for so much hours. So that we call as utilization. That is, the machine can perform for 8 hours, but the company uses the machine only for 2 hours or 3 hours. So that we call as utilization. So when I say measuring capacity can be measured in two ways. One is measured capacity, the other one we call as calculated capacity. Okay, measured capacity is the historical data for which is already available. So capacity, if you are measuring by the historical data or the recorded data of the previous times, then we call this measured capacity. Then what is calculated capacity? Calculated capacity is by taking into account the available time, the utilization, and the efficiency. So calculated capacity is the multiplication of available time. How much time is available, how well the machine is utilized, and what is the efficiency of the machine. Okay, you know utilization and efficiency are measured in percentages. So what is the available time? Okay, from when to when? Say for example 8 to 9. What is the time available? So 1 hour is the time available. How well this class was utilized by the students, and what was the efficiency of my students? How the what was the efficiency of my students in understanding? So that we call as the calculated capacity. So I told you, utilization is measured in terms of percentage, and utilization always reflects the desired capacity, and efficiency is also measured in terms of the level of performance. Okay, efficiency is in terms of percentage, its level is the level of performance of the machine or the worker, and it always reflects the effective capacity. Okay, effective capacity is the desired capacity minus all the allowances. Please note on these formulas. We are will be reading out some six formulas we are going to look in this class. Please note on these formulas which we will be using for connecting the problems. We'll take some problems to solve that. You need to understand this formulas. So the capacity is what? Number of machines or workers who are working in the particular organization, how many number of shifts they are working, what is the utilization of the machine on the worker, what is the efficiency of the machine and the worker. So when you multiply everything, we get the capacity. What is rated capacity or the measured capacity is the available time into utilization into efficiency. Utilization and efficiency in terms of percentage. Standard hours, it's the setup time plus the number of hours of run time, okay, per piece into number of pieces. That is how much time you take to set up the work piece, or set up the say for example in a lathe machine, how much time you consume to 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 mount the tool on the tool post, and how much time you take to mount the workpiece on the lathe. So that is setup time, and how many number of pieces you are going to how many number of um, pieces you are going to produce by using the particular machine, into how much time how much what is the machining time. Machining time is like when the tool touches the workpiece, and tool till the time the tool disengages from the workpiece, that we call as the run time per piece. So to complete one workpiece, machining one workpiece, how much is the time taken into the number of workpieces plus this into the plus the setup time. So that we call as the standard hours. That is the complete time taken to manufacture one particular product. We call it as setup time. Then what is actual hours required? That is going to be standard hours into, that standard hours is what? Available time, nothing but the available time. The available time into efficiency into utilization, we call as actual hours required. Okay, what is the actual hours required? Then to calculate this efficiency and utilization, we have two formulas. So efficiency, I told you, it's the reflection of effective capacity, and utilization is the reflection of design capacity. So efficiency is how well a facility or a machine is going to perform. So the formula to calculate efficiency is actual output divided by effective capacity. Actual output divided by effective capacity. Whereas utilization is measured as actual output divided by design capacity. So utilization is what? Actual output divided by design capacity. Because I told you efficiency is the reflection of effective capacity, and utilization is the reflection of design capacity. So that's why we have this formula: actual output by effective capacity for efficiency, and actual output by design capacity for utilization. So when I think you are noting down these formulas parallelly. So if you know these formulas, we can solve the problem. Okay, so imagine there's a truck is there. Okay, or a company is there. A company can handle 50 trucks. The logistics agencies can handle 50 trucks per day. Okay, but the effective capacity is only 40 trucks per day, because 10 trucks may get repair or punctured, or something can happen. So the actual output is calculated as 36 units per day. So what is the efficiency? So efficiency formula we know, actual output by effective capacity. The actual output is only 36 units per day. So 36 units per day divided by 40 trucks. That is effective capacity is 40 trucks per day. So we have 90%. To calculate utilization, again we use actual output by design capacity. So here 36 trucks is the actual output. The design capacity is 50 trucks per day. Okay, so the utilization is going to be 72%. So this is how we are going to calculate the efficiency and the utilization percentages. Okay, next we will discuss about capacity planning. What is this capacity planning? Capacity is the planning is like, it's similar to material requirement planning, but here I use the word resource planning. Okay, this is not about material requirement, it's about the resources, how I'm going to plan my resources, okay, prior to the need, or if some resources are required to continue to manufacture a product, or to continue to manufacture a product, that time I will be I have to do the capacity planning. Capacity planning is done in different ways in different time intervals. Okay, let's get back to that later, but understand that capacity planning is being done at every phase of product development or every phase of manufacturing. We do the capacity planning in different levels or in different time durations. We do the capacity planning, but basically capacity planning is the process of determining the resource required to meet the priority plan. Okay, so we are prioritizing something and we are going to plan the resources required for that particular activity, and if you're doing that, we call that as capacity planning. And what is then what kind of questions you should ask before going for this capacity plan? We should know what kind of capacity is required or is needed in the particular for the particular task to be completed. What is the what kind of capacity is required? Then we should know how much is required and when it is needed. Okay, so we say, right, so how much, what is needed, how much is needed, and when it is needed. So this is what the three questions we should ask while doing the capacity planning. Then we should know about load. Before entering into the capacity requirement planning, we should know about the load. What is load? Load is the required capacity of a system or the resources needed to produce a desired output in a given time period. Okay, so that is load. Here we mean the, say for example, the machines are there. The machines has to be machines require something to in order to perform. Say for example, the if you want to have a effective utilization or effective efficiency, okay, efficiency and utilization, in order to have a higher efficiency and higher utilization of a machine, we should give the machine some load. Okay, so what is load now? uh, Load can be the power required for the machine, or the raw material required for the machine, or sometimes the efficient worker or the labor being deployed there. So we can calculate that. So the resources whatever is required for in order for the machine to deliver its 100 percentage be called as load. That is simple. If you want to have a to prepare a student very well, we should load him with all the knowledge. You should load him with all the facilities so that he will be able to give his so that he will be able to give a good output. Okay, so equipping the machines or equipping the labors with full resources whatever they require, then we call as loading. During examination, you will be loaded with answer sheets to write the examination. You should be supplied with necessary items to write the examination. Before the examination, we load you with the content of the course, or the knowledge of the course. So all these things is called loading. Okay, so in a company, for a machine to perform or to deliver its 100 percentage efficiency, or in order to make it 100% utilize 100 percentage, we should first give the machine the 100% load. When I say load, it denotes the raw materials. Okay, raw materials required to perform the particular task. Okay, without resources, without giving the raw material, if you're expecting the machine to perform or to produce so many number of, if you expect a productive capability of the machine to be high, that is not possible. With, say for example, without giving the answer sheet during the examination, if you're expecting the student to get pass, it's not possible. While they are writing the examination, if you are not giving the pen to the student and asking him to write the examination, that is not possible. Without teaching the course, if you are asking the student to write the examination, that is not possible. So loading is very very important. Giving the machine the required number of required resources to perform well, that is required, so that we call it as loading. So loading comes in two ways. One is we call as planned load, the other one we call as unplanned load. Planned load is generated by MRP, so in MRP problem, when we solved MRP problem, you calculated the loading, you calculated the planned load. That is, at the end of the MRP problem, you calculated when to release the order, okay. So what is the requirement for that is scheduled receipt you calculated. Sorry, planned order release. Okay, planned order release your created. So this all this planned order release, you are going to call it as planned load. Whatever is not addressed by the MRP what you made, that is called as unplanned load. Okay, so there are planned load and we also call it as unplanned load. We also have something called as infinite load and finite loading, which we'll be looking later. Now you understand this planned load, it is generated by the MRP. Unplanned load, it is not generated by the MRP. That is, we may not know the sudden requirement. There may be some sudden requirement which we may not be knowing. Okay, so that is called as unplanned load. Planned load is we expect something, so we give some amount calculated, some amount of raw material, we already make it ready depending upon the MRP what is produced. If there is a sudden rise in demand in the market, then there may be sudden requirement of adding more load to the existing machines. So that is called as unplanned load. Okay, say for example, you are writing an examination and we are giving you some answer sheets. Okay, so that is, we know that a student is going to consume this many number of answer sheets, and we prepare the examination the materials to write the examination. That is called planned loading. But during the examination, a student writes more, and he, say for example, a student writes more than 40, 76, 50 pages, then there is a sudden demand rises in the examination hall of for more number of answer sheets. So that is called as unplanned load. Okay, if you are planning for something unplanned, if there's sudden rise in the demand for a product which is unplanned, then we have to know about we are going for this unplanned load. To make it simple, I'll give you another example. Like say for example, you are organizing a marriage function. You expect only some 500 guests. That is planned load. If suddenly some 100 guests comes extra, that is unplanned load, and you have to make the things ready for the 100 guests who are arriving to your marriage in extra. So that is called unplanned load. Then what is load percentage? Load percentage it can be calculated as load is also load by capacity. Load by capacity into 100 we call as load percentage. And always this load percentage, say if your load percentage is more than 100, that means what? Already your machine has everything loaded. If you're giving anything in extra, or then we call them as overloaded. And when you load the machines, when you load it over, what happens? The machine will not be able to give its 100% capacity, or it will not be able to deliver 100% for what it is designed or what is expected, or that is the effective utilization and the effective capacity, the efficiency will automatically get down, right? Say for example, the lorry can carry only 10 tons of load, or a truck can carry only 10 tons of load. If you're loading with 15 tons, what will happen? The truck cannot even move. Okay, so loading is also dangerous. It's not like I provide over resources so that my company, my machine will perform too much and I can yield more profit. No, that is also not good. So the optimum level of loading is also necessary. So yeah, machine can be 100 can be loaded to its 100 percentage, but not more than 100 percentage. When you overload, what happens? Everything gets collapsed. Okay, so that is about loading. Okay, so in the next class, we will be discussing about capacity planned loading and this unplanned loading in detail. Okay, we'll in next class we'll see about capacity management. We'll see about capacity requirement planning in the next class. For the next class, please be ready with the calculators to do some problems also. Okay, so when I started the class,